Hello, my name is Garrett. Welcome to my series. If you've never watched it before, essentially, this is my attempt to document my process of overcoming addiction and negative character traits and build myself into the person I want to be. Um, to start off, I just kind of want to give, for anyone who hasn't seen any of the videos, a very brief description of what rock bottom actually meant in my life. Essentially, I started watching porn when I was 13. Uh, that developed into just an escalating addiction over. I'm 25 now, so it's been 12 years. And weed got added into it, and a lot of different other compulsive, instantly gratifying behaviors. And I wanted to be someone who accomplished extraordinary things. I wanted to be a very disciplined person, but these behaviors just I kept failing to overcome them, and eventually just kind of gave up and gave in and let myself go entirely because I was depressed by the failure. And the porn addiction escalated to an extreme degree where I was watching sometimes over 10 hours of porn a day, and just let my life be entirely consumed by it. I went completely broke, accumulated a lot of debt, got fairly fat, became just very weak to the point where I could not hold down a job or I could not trust myself to do anything I said I was going to do, and was extremely fragile emotionally. And eventually, the porn addiction escalated into visiting escorts, both trans and female, which was extremely confusing and shameful for me. And there's about a year where I was struggling with, in my worst moments, compulsively engaging with escorts. And throughout that year, I really struggled with the temptation to kill myself because I just felt like it was inescapable. That is a pretty brief recount of like 10 years of escalation. I went over that a lot more in depth in my first video in the series, so if you're interested in hearing the story a little bit more fleshed out, then that's there. But yeah, long story short, I'm not there anymore. A year and a half ago is where I would say I was at my lowest. I've made a lot of progress since then, but by no means am I where I want to be, and there's still a lot of room for growth. So to start, I'm just gonna go over my week, uh, and this is, I think, an important week, because so far in the series, I've pretty much only been showing success, and the extent of my failure is pretty much working like 5 hours less than I intended. That's pretty much been the biggest failure I've showcased so far. Every week, I have been kind of coming to these videos extremely excited to share them because I've been seeing a lot of success. Uh, this week had failure. I relapsed with porn this week, which was extremely frustrating, and which, to be honest, I'm ashamed to share. Like, I don't like the fact that I'm sharing this. I don't like the fact that I have to put this in a video. Uh, but when I started this series, the purpose was documenting my process of growth as transparently and authentically as I possibly could, which means sharing it all. And yeah, so I'll go over the week first, and I'll go into the porn specifically. Uh, Work input wise, I worked my full intended hours on 3 out of 5 days and ended up working 44 and a half hours, which that doesn't include Wednesday, which was in last month. So it's shorter than normal. I think with Wednesday it was about like 52 hours on the week, which by no means is bad, but it's not great. I think the weeks where I've had full success and hit 6 out of 6, it's about 62 hours, um, which is a lot, and it's a hefty expectation, but I've shown myself capable of hitting it repeatedly. And especially the reason I find this number uh, problematic is because I work about 40 hours at my jobs. And my jobs are important to me. I want to keep pursuing them, and I will be continuing to do them for the foreseeable future. But the real career I'm building towards is progress theory, is this business I'm working on. And so when I fail to hit my full intended hours, I'm not sacrificing my job. I'm sacrificing the business I'm building for my future, and that is a problem to me because ultimately the work I do on my business is the most important work I could possibly be doing. Um, Revenue wise, it was actually a really good week just because of the RNG of serving tables. Made 1670, spent 1483. I spent a lot, but all of my bills are front loaded. I pay every monthly recurring bill, like rent and everything, in the first week of the month. So this is actually a really good week for the first week. Positive habits wise, with my daily framing, meditation, exercise, and texting accountability partners, did really well. 23 out of 24. I missed exercise on one day. I worked a 13-hour shift. That was on Sunday, which isn't a viable excuse, to be honest. It's not like a perfect rationale, but I did work a lot that day. And so it's not the biggest deal. I just need to get up and get moving a little bit faster. The negative habits is where this week was significantly worse than recent weeks. With my urges overcome, I only hit 5 out of 8, which is not terrible compared to the actual goal for this month is 70% of urges overcome. And so that is fairly close. Like, as long as I don't do that repeatedly every week, I'm still absolutely going to hit my goal. But it just feels terrible when compared to the last like 10 weeks of 100% completion. And watched an hour, pretty much like an hour and 20 minutes, it looks like. An hour and 20 minutes of porn, which all happened in one day. And that started as like innocent slip is not the right way to put it, but it wasn't like a deliberate decision to go watch porn. It wasn't this urge hit me out of nowhere and I was like, I want to do this, I'm gonna go do it. I just allowed myself to make very small slips in my boundaries and like looked up things that seemed innocent, and I easily convinced myself like this isn't a problem. I'm not actually looking at something sexual. And then I kept just inching a little farther till it got sexual. And I just kept telling myself, I'm going to stop. Like, I'm going to stop. I'm going to use my tool. I'm not actually going to do it. And then I didn't. And I did it because I was actively putting myself in the temptation. And I was letting myself completely fall into my fantasies and my thought patterns. And so I gave in. And immediately afterwards, I experienced an interesting internal dichotomy between my rational thoughts, which were positive, and my emotional state, which was incredibly negative. In the past, I have struggled a lot with just completely going off the deep end whenever I relapse and just giving up entirely because I have a deep-rooted sense of worthlessness and inadequacy that has fueled a lot of my negative behaviors and my ambition and my desire to be extraordinary. And I have been incredibly perfectionistic in my approach to life because of this. And specifically with these negative behaviors, I would always set the expectation that I need to completely remove this. Like, there's no excuse to be doing it. I am pathetic if I can't stop doing this thing, so I'm going to stop forever. And then when I give in and I slip up, I just absolutely berate myself. I hate myself. I would just take it as a sign that all progress I've made has been completely reset and my system is clearly entirely broken and I should just give up because I'm never going to fix this. And I would just give in. Like this desire, I would feel extremely negative, feel an intense set of negative emotions that I wanted to escape from, and then I would just give in to the various instantly gratifying compulsive behavior that I had built up behavioral patterns with, and would just let myself go for weeks to months to fucking years. And a lot of the work I've had to do with my belief systems and internally is trying to remove, uproot, and replace these beliefs that like I am worthless and a slip means that all progress has been reset. I very much believe that failure is opportunity. Every failure can be analyzed and used to grow and improve. And it is a positive thing. Like failure is only negative when you ruminate on it and don't make changes. And so my rational thought after this first slip was, this is an opportunity. It is okay. I can refine my system. I can identify like what was I doing wrong, and use it to adjust accordingly. But inside, I felt extremely frustrated and angry and ashamed, and just, yeah, I didn't want to share this. I knew I was going to have to share this in a video. I didn't want to admit it. It made me feel like the system I'm trying to build is flawed. Like my progress has been reset. Those beliefs and those feelings that stem from them are still in there. And I knew that I was going to face strong urges, and I knew like, okay, I need to be prepared because that was like barely a slip. And in the past, when I barely slipped, I've fought these urges that like, if I'm gonna slip, I want to like actually watch stuff. I don't want to just barely see anything. And so I knew I needed to be prepared and to use my tool and to reach out to people, and I did to some degree, but I didn't actually use my tool, and I gave in again. Pulled myself out of it, gave in one more time, all in a span of like 4 to 5 hours, and escalated all the way to going on the escort site. And something kind of clicked when I did that. If I was just looking at it, and kind of rationality took back over, and I just was kind of turned off to it. And thought like, I know where this goes. I've been here before. There's nothing new here. It just leads to misery and pain. And it never satisfies me and never fulfills me. It will just destroy and consume my life. And I just kind of backed off. And that urge to keep going just kind of died. Which was a positive experience. I think it shows that there are positive internal changes going on. But all around, there's still part of me that I'd gotten attached to the success I was seeing. I'd gotten attached to the fact that I'd almost 3 months away from this behavior. And I was starting to get really excited at the potential that like I was never going to watch porn again. Like I had figured it out and was completely free. And there is still a part of me that's like, damn, that sucks. Like the streak mentality is garbage. It is counterintuitive and destructive in itself, but it still feels good. It feels good to be able to say like, I haven't done that for a long time. So there's still disappointment, there's still frustration, but I'm taking that as a sign that there's just still work to do when it comes to my belief systems and the kind of foundational motivations that are deep down running my identity and my personality. Um, yeah, I was both ashamed and saddened at the fact that I had to share this in a video, but I was also kind of happy and excited because the point of this series was I wanted to document it all. I wanted to be as transparent and authentic as possible. I wanted to shine a light on my shame and uh, my negative behaviors, and I wanted to just let it all be seen, so that I could stop running from myself. Uh, and while I was very excited to be coming back and showing just success after success, I also was I wanted to showcase failure too. Uh, and so while I don't like that I have to share this, I like that I've reached a point in my life where I'm willing to, and I'm proud of that. And I think the fact that I'm willing to now is the reason why this slip and this relapse didn't turn into just complete self-destruction. Um, and it brings me to something else that I want to say, just because I want it to be on video. I have a I have a very deep vision of who I want to become and what I want to build with progress theory. I, over the course of decades, want to create essentially a online university that is built on the goal of helping people create a strong foundation with their belief systems and their identity and their habits and their traits that will allow them to accomplish extraordinary things, whatever things they want to accomplish, whatever life they want to build. I want to identify and build a system utilizing the universal principles that help people succeed and accomplish specific goals and lead fulfilling lives. And something I'm afraid of slightly is, there's the potential that everything I'm building here fails entirely. There's the potential 5 years down the line, I have no audience and I have seen no success with progress theory and I switch to something else. But if I see the success that I envision, and if I build this to the point that I want to build it to, not only if I build the business and the program into what I envision, but if I build myself into the person that I envision myself becoming, I am scared of losing humility. I never want to be the guy who is so certain of his own belief systems and his own way of life that he just pushes it onto other people and acts like he has all the answers and his way of life is what you should be doing. You should listen to him exactly and not form your own opinions, and not critique and just mindlessly follow what he says. I never want to be that person. I want to be someone who helps people create the life they want. I want to be someone who helps people grow in the ways that they want to grow. I never want to become so certain of who I am and what I believe in my way of life that I lose sight of the fact that I am a tiny, insignificant being who has no perspective and who is incredibly ignorant from a cosmic perspective. I want to always remain grounded and the fact that, like, I'm not perfect. I never will be. There is no end goal where I'll have all the answers or I'll be a being that never fails. I'll never be that. And I never want to portray myself as that. And I never want to get to the point where the program I've created becomes me pushing my way of life onto others. And so, all that to say, I just want to have clear documentation of me saying this back at this point early on in this journey where I have not seen any success and I am quite literally just starting out and I am still relapsing with very negative, destructive behaviors. And it's extremely obvious from what I've said in this video. Like, I don't have all the answers. I fail. I engage in behaviors I don't want to engage in. I'm not perfect. Far from perfect. I never want to portray myself as having all the answers. And I want to keep sight of the fact that I never will. And no matter how much success I see, like, there's always room to grow. And I am still ignorant and need to be humble. And so I just want there to be a video that if I ever become the asshole that is so sure of himself and is pushing his beliefs onto others and acts like he's perfect and is no longer transparent and is clearly curating an image to look like I have all the answers, I want someone to be able to send this to me and say, get in check, dude. Like, you have lost yourself. So yeah, all that to say, moving forward this week, my focus is just recognizing my urges are going to be heightened, identifying. The main lesson I got from that relapse was there's never any excuse to look at anything that's stimulating. There's never any reason to look at a woman online, for me at least. I'm trying to remove porn completely from my life. There's no benefit to be gained from looking at a picture of a girl, even if it's not sexual, because it will tempt me to look at something sexual. There's no reason to do so. And I have a very, the boundary is far more obvious and clear to me moving forward that, like, if there is any thought to look at an image of a woman online, even if I'm like, this isn't a sexual image, use my tool and avoid that temptation, because it can only lead down a path I don't want to go on. Yeah, and like I've been talking about, the business I'm trying to create is Progress Theory. The link is below if there's any interest in looking at it right now. It's in its infancy. It would essentially just be a small knit group sharing the changes they're trying to make in their life and tracking it. It's in its alpha stage. It is not at all what it will be one day. And so I understand if there is no interest yet, but link will be there regardless. Anyone who's watched this far, I appreciate it. This is a little bit of a longer video than most of them I will be creating. But I appreciate your attention and your willingness to let me just talk about my own life and the things I'm trying to change within it. Yeah, I hope anyone watching this sees and finds the growth that they are looking for in their life, whatever that is to them. And I will see you next week.